Hi, welcome to our video. We're going to be going through some concrete mixing. Alongside that, we're going to show you how we're going to do a slump test and how we go about making some concrete cubes. My name's Matt, and we've got Liam here as well as we're going to do that. First thing to mention is some of the groups who will do this will have to go through a concrete mix design. We've got some values that we put up on the board which would suit the concrete mix design that we're going to go through today. So as you can see, we have got 3.4 kilograms of cement, we've got 1.6 litres of water, and then we've got 5.15 kilograms of fine aggregate and 13.85 kilograms of coarse aggregate. That's going to give us an expected slump today, somewhere in the region of 10 to 30 millimetres, but we'll see how we go as we go through the mixing here. So as you can see, what we've got here, we have our concrete mixer. So it allows us to mix some concrete here in the laboratory where we are today. We have a bucket that's got our aggregate in. I've weighed this out already. There is 19 kilograms altogether, which is the fine aggregate and coarse aggregate joint together. We've also got our 3.4 kilograms of cement, and then also over there we've measured out our 1.6 litres of water. So what we're going to do is we are going to throw all these ingredients into our mixer. We're going to give it a mix through, see what it looks like, and then we're going to go through our first slump test. So first of all, we'll start with our aggregate, and we'll just tip it in. Now, as you can see, our aggregate is very, very dry. It's been sat in the laboratory for a number of months. This may affect our slump test because we might have to add some more water into it, but we'll see that as we go. Next we're going to do is our cementing. We try and keep all these ingredients from spilling to make sure we've got the right amount. Liam, do you want to put the water in?
Yeah, well, maybe go mix first when it's dry to get the cement mixing through the aggregate, and then we'll add the water in. So we've now got our 1.6 litres of water, so we'll add that in.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Just now. And we'll let this mix through, so everything, all the constituent parts are mixed together, and we'll see how it looks.
So we'll give that a mix for a minute or so, make sure it's all mixed together nicely, and then we'll show you what it looks like.
What we're looking for is to be like a uniform consistency, so then we can tell, you know, everything's mixed together, so there's no kind of aggregate that's kind of apparent that's kind of not being bonded with cement, etc.
So I think what we'll do is we'll give this a slump test. It's going to be a very dry mix, but we'll show you the process of a slump test as we go through now in the next few minutes. So we have a little trapdoor here. Hopefully open. And I'm just going to spin that. As you can see, this is a very dry mix. It's probably not going to be at the slump that we're going to expect, but we'll have a look and find out. So as per the British standard, that we're referring to today is 12350. So this is a standard slump cone, as you can see here. It's as per the British standard measurements that we would expect to see. And then what we do is we fill this up into 3 layers. First layer is going to be a third the way up, and we'll use a scoop like this. that's around about a third full. Then we have our standard slump tamping rod. There's two ends. The thick end is for when we make our cubes, and this is for when we're doing our slump test. Now each layer needs 25 tamps, and what we have to do is to make sure we penetrate through the whole layer of concrete that we've just put in the cone. So that's my 25 tamps for the first layer. And now I'm going to put in the second, third. So that's approximately 2/3 full now. And I'm going to do another 25 tamps. Now what's important here is, again, as we penetrate that layer, we're not going to go all the way to the bottom, we're just going to go down to the previous layer that we've just compacted. Now when we're tamping it, we're trying to get a good spread of our 25 tamps, and again that's going to help remove any kind of air voids that's within that. Now we're going to put in our last layer. We've got that nice and full to the top now. We do our final 25 tamps. Okay, and as you can see, it's all settled down. So what we have to do is just top that off. And we level it off nice and evenly like this. We'll remove any concrete from around the bottom. This is the exciting bit. What we'll do is we'll remove the slump cone and we'll see how far this is going to slump under its own weight. As you can see, not a lot. Now it's not too easy to see on this one, but we will have to measure how far that has fallen. We always measure to the highest point. So in this case, if you want to come down and see, it's actually not slumped at all. Okay, so in this case, the slump of the concrete would be a 0, and that's going to point to the fact that it needs some more water in. Like I said at the start, it's because the aggregate is very, very dry. So what we'll do is we'll throw all this mix back into the mixer, and we'll add some more water to make it a little bit more workable. Okay, so we've got most of the mix back in now. We're going to measure out some more water. So I think what we'll do is in here we've got another 1 litre. We'll start to mix and we'll just add some water as we go until we reach a consistency we're happy with.
Yeah. Everything down. And a little bit more maybe. So we're just adding a wee bit at a time, because what we don't want to happen is to put too much water in, then obviously we can't remove it. So if we do it just a wee bit at a time, let it mix, see what the consistency looks like, and then we'll kind of take it from there.
And that's not far off.
So you can see in the mixer at the moment it's getting a bit more kind of fluid looking. So to get an expected kind of slump is between 10 and 40. We don't want it too fluid, so not looking too bad at the moment. Try that.
Cool. So like Liam was just saying then, I don't know if he made it out on the video, but we just added a little bit as we go, because obviously once we add too much in, it'll become too workable and the slump will then go. So we'll slump this now and see what we look like. Hopefully we're going to get somewhere between 10 and 30 millimetres. So yeah, take 2. Let's scoop it out there.
Probably easier, yeah.
Now it's important that I'm standing where I'm standing, because it's not making sure that any of the concrete is going to escape out the bottom. So that's 2/3 full now. So again, we'll just top that off so it's nice and even at the top. I'll level it off and wipe away any excess. And we'll do exactly the same as what we did previously. So again, this still seems very, very stiff. And again, he's still touching the rod, so it's still at a 0 slump still. So that points to the fact, again, we're going to have to add some more water. Previously, we just put in an extra 0.7 litres. So again, we'll mix it again, we'll put some more water in. I don't think we're going to be too far off until we reach the slump that we want to do. Again, the reason that we would do this, this will be done on the construction site to make sure that the concrete that's coming in is to the standard that we'd ordered it. If we were ordering a 30-metre slump and it was coming in very stiff, then we could ask for more water to be put in, but obviously the more water we put in, obviously the strength is going to be affected. again, that time we put in another 0.7 litres of water, so that's 1.4 litres of water, so you can see the effect of how dry the aggregate has on the mix design. Now obviously the fact that we've added so much more water is maybe going to change the characteristics of the concrete and obviously in terms of the strength. So obviously the balance of the water and cement ratio is going to be affected. So we'll do our third slump test, we'll see what this comes out like. I can see straight away already this looks a lot a creamier consistency. So we do our 3 layers again. $25 tamps per layer. And our last one. Finally, we'll just top it up. And fingers crossed, we may see a slump. That looks excellent. So you can see this time there has been a slump here. So what we will do is we will measure down to the highest point. And Liam has got a steel rule and Liam will tell us what that slump is.
So we now take it to the highest point, and it's looking like we've got a slump of 20 millimeters in this case. So 20 just here on the rule. So it's to the underside of the slump rod that we've got projected across from the slump cone. So 20 millimeter slump for this mix at the moment.
So you can see there, that's what we were after at the start, and you can see the effect of the dry aggregate, like I said previously, in terms of adding more water in to get there. So what we're going to do now is we are going to show you how we're going to go about making some concrete cubes. Hi, so we're going to show you how we go about making some concrete cubes now. As per the British standards, you can see we've got 100 by 100 millimeter concrete cube mould, and what we do is we apply some oil in and around the cube moulds, and it helps the releasing of this once the cubes have cured. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill each concrete mould at half full. And then what we do is we do 25 tamps using this end of our tamping rod, and again we're going to do that evenly across the concrete mould, and we're going to help remove any voids as we do that. Okay, and then we go on to our second layer. And again, we're going to do another 25 tamps on that. Okay, now what's important that we do now is that we finish them off so they have a nice smooth finish, because obviously when they go into the cube crushing machine, we want to try and have the dimensions as close as possible to the 100mm that was set out at the start. As you can see, we've got a relatively flat top now. What we would do is we would normally mark up on the side of the cube mould reference, a reference number, whether it be cube 1, cube 2, cube 1A, depending on where the concrete pour was from. And then after that is cured, normally the next day, we would strip these out of the cube mould, and then they would go into a curing tank where we would keep them until the designated time that they would need to be tested. And as you can see here, these are the ones we've just made. This is what they would maybe look like a day or two after, and then we would take them out of the cube mould, and we'd be left with a nice concrete cube that looks something a little bit like this. Then what's important is where we cure it. Now obviously in our lab we've got a curing tank, and again any construction site would have a curing tank there also. So I'll put this in our curing tank where we'll keep it for the next 7 days. As you can see, it's fully submerged in a heated curing tank, and that is how we go about doing a slump test and making concrete cubes.